These are some things that I use myself to get to a 405 squat, and I'm working my way back up toward that right now. But a lot of my clients in recent weeks have had a ton of success with their squatting, and some of the things that they did they're very simple in nature. You gotta follow a certain progression and make sure that your form's on point. But we'll go over that here in a second. So one of the main things that I make sure that my clients do every single time they train is warm up properly. So when it comes to the actual warm up for a squat workout, what you need to be thinking about doing is focusing on, warming up your shoulders, getting them ready, because when you're squatting, you're gonna be externally rotated the whole time. With my clients, what we try to do is band pull aparts, dislocates, just anything that's gonna open up the actual shoulders, and just make sure everything's ready to go, because when you put that bar on your back and your arms are externally rotated, you want to make sure that they're in a proper place and you're not, feeling any pain. There's not like a tight stretch right there. So make sure you do that. The other thing that I have all of my clients do, including myself, is actually warm up with general movement. So when you do static stretching, it's going to decrease your power output. So what you want to think about doing is using general movement, explosive movements, and then movement itself to warm up. So for general movement, we're going to be doing things like push-ups, dips, inverted rows, squats, and lunges. So you basically pick one push, one pull, and one squat, and you do a set of like 10 to 20. You can do more than that if you feel like you need to warm up a little better. But that's basically the gist of it. So you're going through a full range of motion. You're working through every major movement pattern in the body, because by doing a push, a pull, and a squat, that's pretty much everything you're going to be using, regardless of if you're training upper body or lower body. So making sure you do that is very important. And from here, we're actually going to be going into more explosive movement. So with my clients, I like to use medicine ball throws and any kind of jumps. I don't have a box to do box jumps, so we use broad jumps primarily. So this is going to activate your central nervous system and get it ready to train. This is the whole goal of this type of warm up. So if you find you're having a hard time getting in the gym and actually doing the workout and you're lagging a little bit, do some jumps and throws. And then finally, we have the general movement. So this is going to be anything where, like, say you're squatting for the day, which is, the purpose of this video right here. You're going to actually be doing just the bar. Start with the bar, do 10 to 20 reps. Just get everything warmed up, get everything ready to go. All the muscle groups that are going to be using the actual squat, if you just go straight to that number, you're not going to be ready. And then what I do with my clients is, say they're doing 200 for the day, we'll jump in about 10 to 20% jumps until we get to the weight we're working at. So this will be like 80, 120, 160. And by that time, they should be ready within 4 warm-up sets to do the workout. And if they're not, they might just need to warm up a little more. So start with just the bar, do 10 reps, then go to your second warm-up, do 5 to 8 reps, move on to the next warm-up, do 3 to 5, last warm-up, do 3 reps, and then you're ready to squat. That's basically all you need to do. If you find you need more than that, you might need to do more squats and lunges, things like that. You might have to do some stuff to get the hips open up a little bit more, but that's the basic gist of what a proper squat warm-up is supposed to be like. Go in, make sure you're doing the proper things to get warmed up. If you just go in and you automatically start squatting without, how your form's gonna look or how warmed up you are, it's gonna lead to injuries later down the road. So make sure you do those things. The other thing you can do if you have a lot of trouble with your ankle flexibility, this is the only time I'd recommend it, is actually static stretch your calves. And the way we do this is just by putting your foot up on a block or something else and just pushing down with the heel, trying to stretch it out as much as you can. Doing about 30 seconds is usually all you really need to do with this, but you can do it multiple times if you find you're not warmed up properly. You can honestly just do it, between every single set of squats when you're warming up, and that should give you the best bang for your buck. I recommend getting some type of Olympic weightlifting shoes, because this is going to have that heel on the back that's going to raise your heel up just enough to give you a greater range of motion and decrease how much ankle flexibility you actually need. But I wouldn't be saying this is something that is used as like a band-aid. It's more of just a tool you can use, but you should still work on your ankle flexibility, because that could be a limiting factor in the future for you. Speaking of footwear, when you're squatting, you want to make sure you're wearing the correct shoes, and this is very important for a couple of reasons. The main one is that a lot of people, when they go to the gym, they wear those squishy running shoes or those athletic shoes where the whole purpose is to absorb force. But when you're squatting with heavy barbell on your back, this is a very, very bad idea. The reason being is because you want to have the maximum stability and you want to make sure that you're not able to shift around. When you're wearing those kind of athletic shoes and you're squatting a heavy weight, you can kind of tip back and forth because of it. So because of that, you want to make sure that every time you're in the gym, you're wearing the right shoes. So Best things you could possibly wear are things like Converse, Vans. This is the cheapest alternative, that you could possibly use in the gym. The other thing you could try and use are Olympic weightlifting shoes. So I use a heel, probably about like half an inch or so on my shoes. And this allows me to squat to a little bit deeper depth. It lets me push my knees forward a little more without my ankle mobility being in the way. Some people, you're not going to be able to stretch out past a certain point just because it's very, very difficult. I've had people that they had a really hard time, getting to depth, and they switched to Olympic weightlifting shoes, and their problem went away overnight. So, like I said before, this isn't an excuse to not, skimp on your ankle mobility. But if you need them, Olympic weightlifting shoes are very important, and they can work wonders for a lot of people. It'll make the squat feel more natural. And the whole thing with these Olympic weightlifting shoes and Vans, Adidas, powerlifting shoes, anything like that, they're completely flat on the bottom, and they grip the floor very easily, and it's very, very solid. This is a very important thing. If you're completely flat and you have that extra stability on your feet, you're gonna be able to transfer a lot more power into the barbell, which is very important for getting stronger at it. So if you're having a hard time constantly shifting around, you feel like you're unstable, you should probably invest in a proper pair of shoes, especially if you want to squat heavy weights. And the final tip I'm gonna give you guys today is focusing on proper form. First thing you want to be thinking about before you even take the rack out of the bar is taking in a deep breath. This is called the Valsalva maneuver or abdominal bracing, which I'll go over in another video at a later time. But basically what this does is give you the maximum stability through your trunk and your low back to maintain spinal rigidity. This is very important. You want to make sure your spine is rigid and neutral the whole time. For my clients and myself, I find using a false grip on the barbell actually helps relieve a lot of elbow issues. So instead of wrapping your hand around the bar like this, you just bring it back behind it, and that's basically it. By doing that, it relieves a lot of the issues that people have with elbow injuries, because a lot of people, when they squat, their elbows, they get a little sore, and that's because their hands are wrapped around it and it's kind of pushing down on the hand, which transfers directly to your elbow, which is obviously bad. So by doing this, you kind of keep the bar locked in on your back and you don't have to worry about it as much. From here, as we're unracking, we want to take 2 steps back. We don't want to be taking huge steps, just small steps, because if you take big steps back, the bar is actually going to rotate on you a little bit. So small steps, get into your position. This is going to be about shoulder width apart is usually what most people can do. And then you want to have your toes out at a slight angle. You don't want to be like a huge angle, just like about 45 degrees, a little bit less. And for the descent of the squat, you want to be thinking about taking in another deep breath, holding it throughout the whole entire lift. At the same time, sit your hips back, push your knees out, and then squat down. What this is going to do is load up your hamstrings and glutes. By pushing your knees out, it's going to make sure that your knees are tracking directly over your toes. And then on the way up, you're thinking about shoving the knees out, keeping them out, because if the knees are bowing in on the way up, that's not a very good thing, to have happen. So make sure you're pushing the knees out at all times. And then you stand up, basically. It doesn't have to be super complex, just do those couple things. Take the bar to the rack, deep breath, sit the hips back, knees out, and basically just push your back into the bar on the way up. And this is gonna keep your chest up and prevent the bar from, caving forward and turning it into a good morning, which is not something that you want. But this is the basic gist of proper barbell squatting. If you guys have any questions on it, definitely let me know in the comments below. If you guys would like to see more resources, let me know and I'll link you over some people that are the best at what they do in the world, and they have a lot more information than this video itself goes over. But if you guys enjoyed the video and you guys would like to see more, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Hit that notification bell, and I'll talk to you guys later. Thanks for watching. Also, expect to see a series of this. I have about 7 more tips that I'm going to be going over in the next 3 weeks, so definitely look out for those videos. They'll be coming up every Saturday at about 8 a.m. But like I said, that's it from me. Hope you guys enjoyed. Until next time, Dante Redgrave. I missed the camera. Sorry. Bye.